Okay, so today we're diving into a specific kind of quiet. Not, the artificial quiet of a soundproof room, but that deep, natural quiet you get in the northern Michigan forest, where the only real sound is maybe the river going past your tent.
Yeah, and we're kind of posing a challenge, aren't we? This idea that, well, if you want true off-grid solitude, you probably have to give up some basic things. But can you actually find authentic, undeveloped, rustic camping, say, around Grayling in northern Lower Michigan, and still have reliable access to water, like for drinking, for paddling?
That's exactly the mission for this deep dive. We pulled together a whole stack of source materials looking at, I think, it was 20 top rustic campsites, state forests, national forests, all sort of radiating out from Lake Marguerite near Grayling.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really trying to pull out the specifics for you so you can pick that perfect quiet spot, whether you're into fishing or kayaking or just, soaking up some actual peace and quiet.
Okay, but first, we should probably define what we mean by rustic here in this specific area, because it can mean different things. Every single one of these 20 sites we looked at, they share some common features. You're going to find vault toilets. You'll probably hear that old squeaky hand pump for drinking water, assuming it's working that season.
Right. Always got to check that.
Yeah, definitely. And very few sites per loop, usually good spacing, great water access, that was a key criterion. And the big one, absolutely zero electrical hookups. None.
That lack of electricity, that's like the great filter, isn't it?
It really is.
And also, crucial point, almost all these spots are first come, first served, FTFS. So you're trading the guarantee of a reservation for, well, for a potentially deeper immersion in the wilderness. If that's your trade-off, these are the places the sources keep pointing to.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay, let's dig into this. Let's start with what the sources kind of called the gateway camps.
Hmm.
These are the spots that are pretty accessible, maybe more classic, near Grayling, but they still give you that stripped-down, primitive vibe.
Right. The obvious place to start is Lake Margaret State Forest Campground itself. It's a well-known one. It's got 37 sites, many right on the lake, but tucked back in the woods for privacy.
Yeah, it's interesting how the sources talk about it being popular but still feeling private. Like, yeah, okay, it's busy with fishing boats, kayaks,
Sure.
but the sites themselves are really wooded. And a lot of them, you can only get down to the lake on these little footpaths, right?
Exactly. That design choice really limits the vehicle noise right at the sites. It helps keep things separated.
So it's accessible, definitely, but it still manages to feel like a retreat. And the cost is pretty standard, like $20 a night plus your state rec passport.
Yep, that's the usual rate for these SFCs. Now, if you shift just a bit, maybe over to the Manistee River Bridge Campground, you go from the lake to the river. This one has 23 sites, and it puts you right on the main branch of the Manistee.
Okay, so that's super convenient location-wise, being near Grayling.
It's right on the edge of town, practically. But the way the sites are laid out, they're spread across these wide, sandy areas with lots of pines. It feels pretty secluded, actually. The river sound kind of dominates.
Nice. Good for fishing, I bet.
Oh, yeah, big time for trout fishing. And it has a boat launch right there, which is super handy for paddlers, too. So it's functional, but still feels quiet.
Okay, and one more in this sort of gateway group.
Let's talk Shupak Lake State Forest Campground, SFC. 30 sites here, under nice hardwood trees, good views of Shupak Lake itself.
And what makes it a gateway?
Well, it's the lake camping, but it's also really close to the north branch of the Ausable River, like only half a mile away.
Ah, okay, so you get the lake camping experience, but paddling the famous Ausable is right there.
Exactly. Best of both worlds, almost.
So if we kind of zoom out on these three, they manage a trade-off, don't they? They give you the primitive stuff, vault toilets, maybe a hand pump, but being close to Grayling or on main roads makes getting there, setting up, maybe running for supplies, way easier.
Right. You get the quiet vibe without, committing to a 2-hour drive down some sketchy 2-track road.
The main compromise is just no electricity. It's not really about ease of access for these ones.
Precisely. They're kind of the perfect way to dip your toe in, maybe, before you head deeper into the woods.
That makes a lot of sense. Good intro to the area. Okay, now let's shift gears. Let's leave maybe the bigger lakes and easier access behind and talk about the spots that are really geared towards people who want to be on the water, particularly river paddlers. This is the Paddler's Paradise section.
Yeah, and this whole zone is, unsurprisingly, dominated by the Ausable River system. The sources kept bringing up Canoe Harbor State Forest Campground. It seems like the benchmark here.
In New Harbor. That one's bigger, right? 41 sites on the south branch of the Ausable.
It is larger, yeah. But the key feature, and why it's squarely in the paddler category, is those dedicated canoe sites. It has 2 tent sites that you can only reach by canoe,
Oh, interesting.
plus 4 group sites as well. So it's really set up for people doing multi-day float trips. You can launch right from your campsite, basically, and head downstream for days.
That's pretty cool. Now, you mentioned immersion. Are there places that take that even further, like harder to get to?
Absolutely. There's sort of a gradient. If you want more solitude, the sources point to spots where the barrier isn't just location, it's actual physical effort.
Okay, like what?
Well, take White Pine Canoe Camp. It's on a remote bend of the river, only 5 tent sites total.
5. Wow, it's tiny.
Tiny, and you either have to paddle in or you park and hike your gear in through the forest for a short distance. No vehicles near the sites at all.
Okay, so that guarantees quiet nights, right? Among those big pines.
Pretty much guarantees it, yeah. The effort filters people out.
But wait, hiking your gear in,
Yeah,
even a short distance?
yeah,
How much of a hassle is that, really?
yeah.
Is the quiet worth hauling coolers and tents?
Well, that's the thing the sources emphasize. For the people who choose these spots, the effort is part of the point. It earns you the solitude.
Yeah.
And even more dramatic, maybe, is Cathedral Pines Campground. This is in the Huron-Manistee National Forest. Here, you park your car, and then you have to hike everything, a full quarter-mile, through these amazing old-growth white pines just to get to the camping area.
A quarter mile? Okay, that's significant with gear.
It is. The source material described the vibe there as reverent, like being in a forest cathedral.
Wow.
And that hike, it weeds out probably 90% of casual campers. It's almost exclusively for dedicated canoeists or backpackers who are prepared for that.
So it becomes a self-selecting group. You earn the spot, and the atmosphere reflects that.
Totally. You share the space with people who value that kind of commitment.
Okay, but what if you want that river focus, but maybe not the mandatory hike-in? Are there options closer to Grayling?
Yeah, for sure. There are a couple right near each other, maybe 4 miles east of Grayling, Keystone Landing and Burton's Landing.
Keystone and Burton's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keystone has about 18 sites, tucked under these really tall cedars, gives you good screening between sites. Burton's is smaller, just 12 sites, maybe a bit more spread out.
So these are good base camps for day trips on the river.
Exactly. They keep that quiet, off-grid feel, but you can still drive your vehicle right up to your site. You get the river access without that intense commitment of the walk-in spots.
Okay, that makes sense. There's a whole spectrum, really. But now, let's push further out. Let's get past the relative convenience of Grayling and talk about the places that demand maybe the most commitment, the ones that offer the deepest quiet. These are the solitude all-stars.
Right. These are generally the smallest campgrounds, often on more secluded lakes or river stretches. Site density or lack thereof is really the key here.
So where do we start with these?
Lake Marjorie State Forest Campground is a great example. It's about 12 miles south of Gaylord, so a bit further afield. And it only has 10 sites, just 10, on a small, pretty secluded lake.
10 sites. That sounds peaceful already.
Yeah, nestled in oak and maple trees, lots of shade, lots of privacy, both sight and sound.
That site count seems critical. You mentioned site density. Like if you compare Lake Marjorie's 10 sites to, say, Van Etten Lake SFC near Escoda, which has, what, 49 sites?
Exactly. That's a huge difference. The sources are pretty clear. The number of sites is probably the single biggest predictor of noise spillover. At 49 sites, you've got dozens of cars, people driving the loop, maybe lines at the water pump.
Right.
At 10 sites, it's almost guaranteed to be a much more intimate, quiet experience.
Makes sense. Fewer neighbors, quieter mornings.
Yeah.
And maybe less chance of someone ignoring the no generator rule.
Probably, yeah. Compliance tends to be better in smaller, more dedicated camps. And if minimal noise is absolutely your top priority, Rainbow Bend SFC gets high marks in the sources. It's a tiny loop, just 7 sites, right along the Ausable River.
7 sites. Okay, that's definitely solitude territory. And it's year-round.
It is listed as year-round, but with a really important caveat.
Ah, here it comes.
The access roads are not plowed in the winter.
Okay, so year-round means if you can physically get there on your own through the snow.
Precisely. And that lack of maintenance, that's actually a signal, isn't it? It tells you that the priority here is wilderness immersion, not convenience. If you go off-season, you better be 100% self-sufficient. Snowshoes, maybe?
Wow. Yeah, serious commitment. And we see that same theme in some of the really hidden spots in the Huron-Manistee National Forest, right?
Yeah.
Places that maybe cater more to backpackers or paddlers than car campers.
Definitely. Like Buttercup Campground on the Upper Ausable. It's incredibly private, very small, and the sources often noted the water pump might not be maintained.
Meaning you absolutely have to bring your own water or a filter.
You absolutely have to plan for that, yes. Pack it in or filter it. It barely has formal sites, just a few gravel pads, no real loop road. It's almost just a designated clearing with a vault toilet dropped in.
Super primitive then.
Very. And another one like that is Meadow Springs Campground. It's on a tributary of the Ausable over in Alcona County. Just a handful of sites, really shady, often missed by the RV crowd because it's tucked away.
Popular with backpackers, you said.
Yeah, backpackers seem to like it, and the sources mention it's often gated off in the winter or shoulder seasons too.
So again, minimal services, maximum peace. That's the trade-off.
It really is, and it shows how flexible that term developed rustic can be. At Lake Margaret, it means a pretty well-kept vault toilet and a reliable hand pump.
Right.
At Buttercup, it might just mean, hey, we put a toilet structure here 5 years ago, good luck. You really need to check current conditions, especially water status, before you commit to those deeper spots.
That raises a really practical question then.
Yeah.
For someone planning one of these trips, wanting that true quiet, how do you, guarantee it as much as possible?
Well, based on everything we looked at, if you want that combo grayling area, reliable water, and quiet nights, you have to aim for the sites that naturally create barriers to entry.
Okay, barriers like what?
Yeah, prioritize the places that are strictly first come, first served. That eliminates the big groups planning months ahead. Look for the ones that require manual water, like those old hand pumps. It sounds silly, but it deters people looking for convenience. And definitely focus on the spots that limit vehicle access, those canoe-in sites, the hike-in spots like Cathedral Pines. Those physical barriers are your best bet for ensuring solitude. They filter for a certain type of camper who respects that quiet environment.
That's a really great summary of what the sources were telling us. We started this deep dive asking, can you find real rustic camping near Grayling without giving up water access? And the answer seems to be a definite yes. You just have to be willing to seek out the places that make you earn it a little bit by trading off some convenience or predictability.
Yeah, and it makes you think about the value of that undeveloped rustic experience, doesn't it? When the roads aren't plowed in winter or the water pump isn't guaranteed. It's kind of a reminder you're not just a customer booking a service. You're aiming for real nature immersion.
You're a guest in the wild, essentially.
Exactly. It shifts your mindset.
That is a fantastic thought to wrap up on. Well, this has been a deep dive into the source material, hopefully helping you pinpoint some of the quietest, most beautifully rugged corners of Michigan state and national forests up there.
We really hope these insights help you plan that next trip, maybe one that's a bit more off the beaten path, a bit more solitary.
Remember to like, subscribe, check out any affiliate travel links if you're planning a trip based on this. And definitely leave us comments, suggest new places you want us to dive into, or ask questions.
Yeah, we love hearing from you.
Okay, stay tuned for our next deep dive. We're going to be looking at the surprising and sometimes weird history hidden inside common roadside attractions. Should be fun.
Oh, interesting. Looking forward to that one.
And don't forget to check out the Deep Dive AI playlist on YouTube if you want to see some video tours or trip stories related to our topics.